You recently bought a turnkey rental property. You're super excited, it looks cute on paper, the numbers are looking good, you got your property inspection done, you have closed on this bad boy. And then out of nowhere, something freakish happens and something negative is taking place, whether it's a tenant issue or a property manager issue, an issue with the condition of the property. Something is suddenly not going well. And your first thought is, are you kidding me? I just bought this thing. You must be kidding me. I'm going to give you the 4 steps that I want you to follow if you find yourself in this position. Remember, we are dealing with rental properties. Rental properties never in the history of rental properties have been perfect. And turnkey is just a vehicle for getting you a rental property. So, things can happen. If they never happened, it would be so easy. Everybody would do it. Not to be super cliche about that. But I get your frustration. You just closed on this, what was advertised to be turnkey, and now something's happening. Let's manage this together. Step number 1, do not panic. I know, easier said than done, but try to refrain from panicking. Number 1, you're just going to lose sleep. And number 2, the panic really may not be necessary. And I want you to be able to focus on how to move through this. The more time you're spending panicking, the less smoothly you're going to navigate through all of this. So, step number 1, stop yourself from panicking. Then, go to step number 2. This one sounds like it should be obvious, but I can promise you, in years of dealing with turnkey buyers, it's apparently not very obvious. Step number 2, contact the turnkey provider directly. Tell them the situation. I know once we close on a turnkey, it's kind of easy to think that they're really no longer part of it and we're dealing with a property manager. They won't want to hear from us. We don't want to cause problems. Forget that. They are going to be your absolute best first step towards getting this resolved. Most turnkey providers are really well-intentioned. They don't want you miserable, and if there's a way for them to help you, oftentimes they will. So reach out to the turnkey provider and tell them what's going on. And when you do this, I want you to include certain things. Tell them in detail what the actual problem is. Tell them who told you that, and provide any supportive documentation. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me and say there's a problem, and it's so vague that I don't actually know what they're saying, and I inevitably have to ask more detailed questions. Don't make the provider have to ask all of that. Be clear and concise. Here's the problem in detail. Here's who it came from, and here's any supportive documentation. Let's say it's an issue with a property condition. My first question to people is, well, did that come up in the property inspection? Go ahead and include a copy of your property inspection in this email to the turnkey provider. Clear and concise. Did you get that? Clear and concise. I'm serious about that part. I don't know. Okay, then kind of a half step, so we're going to call it step 2.5. At the same time you reach out to them, either CC anyone who helped you into the equation or email them separately. So me, for example, I help connect people to turnkey providers all the time. If I know someone bought a property through a provider and something happens, I want you to let me know for a couple reasons. 1, so I'm in the loop and you're not miserable unnecessarily. My job is to offer support for you, so I can't do that if you don't tell me there's a problem. And number 2, I may have some leverage to help get you further support, or I can help talk to the provider on your behalf. I can support in so many different ways. So reach out to me or anyone that you have worked with. If somebody helped you get this property or connected you to that turnkey provider, reach out to them as part of this step as well. The more people behind you, the more impactful this thing's going to be. Might as well use all the tools in your tool belt. Step number 3, while you're waiting on the response from the turnkey provider, I want you to watch the video that I'm linking below called "Did You Lose $10,000? Should You Sell Your Property?" The whole video is painting the picture of a rental property. If something bad happens out of the gate and it's going to cost you some money, or maybe it's an unexpected vacancy and now you're having to pay for the mortgage out of pocket, people can really spin out thinking, oh my God, should I have gotten this property? Should I get rid of it? Is it going to not be profitable now? They take it to mean possibly bigger things unnecessarily. Maybe sometimes necessary, maybe not. But watch that video below, because I want you to, in lieu of you not panicking, I want you to understand the big picture of a rental property and how if something happens, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is now a bad investment. So it's going to help with that not panicking, but it's also going to help you just understand what you're working with. The more knowledge you have, the more of a fight you can put up. So that's step number 3, is watch that video down below. Then the last step number 4, is an ongoing step. Be the boss. There's a very unfortunate reality when you own investment properties and you have other people working on them for you. And this, even if you're a landlord in your own property, you're probably still going to have repairmen or contractors or whatever. But if we're talking about contractors, property managers, all of these people that essentially kind of have the fate of your investment to some degree or another in their hands, that unfortunate reality is that they can make or break your investment. You're the only person who's going to suffer the consequences should they not do their job. If there's a massive rehab overage, yeah, the contractors might get a bad reputation, but ultimately it costs you money. If the property managers aren't performing or solving your problem for you, you're the only one that takes on the financial expense. Their income doesn't depend on what happens with your property, for the most part. That's the unfortunate reality, is your profitability is really tied to a lot of people. So no matter what's going on, remain the boss, because at the end of the day, it's your investment that is going to take the hit, if anything. So let's say that some people have reached out and they say, yeah, we can help with that. Let's say this inspection needs to get done. Okay, great. If you are not getting communication or you're not seeing steps being taken to get that inspection done, hop on the horn. Hey guys, checking in. What do we need to do to get this done? You want things to be done timely, efficiently, and because they don't have any incentive really, other than their reputations and their Yelp reviews, to make sure that's all done for you. You have to stay on top of everybody and manage everybody. You are the boss of the people and the investment. Now, this is not a ticket to go screaming off and popping off at everybody, being like, you have to do this. Like, start nicely. But you can also be stern about it. If you're not seeing a lot of progress, guys, what's going on? What's the schedule? What do I need to do? Can I do this for you? What do you need? I'll get that for you. Like, get on the horn, be the boss. You've got to do this. So, all the while, you're not panicking. So, number 1, don't panic. Number 2, just reach out to the provider as a starting point and give them clear documentation and information about what the problem is. Let them come back to you before you bother panicking. Maybe they come back to you and they're like, oh gosh, we can fix that immediately. See, you would have panicked for nothing. Also include in there anyone who helped you buy the property or get connected to that provider. Watch the video down below so you make sure that you know this is not a sign potentially of a bad investment. And then don't forget to be the boss. Now, as a last helpful gesture, if it's helpful, even if I didn't help you buy your turnkey, reach out to me if you need help. If you bought straight from a provider and you didn't work with any other support system, contact me. Maybe I can help with something. So first, hit the like button on the video. Then, if you've had any of these challenges, if you have stories, did you buy a turnkey and something freak of nature happened? Share it in the stories. What happened? How was it dealt with? What's the after effects, the consequences? Is everything okay now? And then lastly, contact me directly if you need some additional turnkey support. So, what's the moral of this whole story? Don't panic before you have to.